Barbadian Live to you.
We are TV8.
The Education Ministry bombarded with calls for transfers. Young people targeted for the latest HIV/AIDS awareness program. And in sports, the Windies lose the first one-day international of the Digicel Pearls series.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. This is the CBC Evening News. The Ministry of Education is being flooded with requests for transfers from parents dissatisfied with the placement of their children following this year's Common Interest exam. Confirmation of this from Education Minister Ronald Jones. He says some parents have gone as far as getting his personal number and calling him with their requests. Shane Seeley has the story.
Hundreds of parents passed through these gates this morning in search of transfers for their child award. And CBC understands that up to 300 of them came between 7 in the morning and midday. Now, education officials say you don't normally see that number of parents trying to get transfers. The education minister believes it has something to do with the high marks received by many of the students this year.
This year, you will find a situation where marks merge. So let's say Harrison College has a cutoff mark of 240 to 234. It means that previously, as last year, when students got in at 228, now they're not going to make it because the marks have all been pushed upward.
The reaction from parents comes despite the education minister stressing last week that spaces for transfers are very limited. He's, however, given them the assurance that their requests for transfers will be evaluated by education officials in a fair manner. Mr. Jones adds that when the process is completed, no more than 25 transfers may be allowed.
We still have some spaces in some schools I think at St. Lucie, St. George, and therefore, if they can be accommodated there who make requests because of transportational issues, we can accommodate them there. But the pressure is just too much. The schools are not elastic. Most schools take between 180 and 210 at the first form levels. And once they're in and the allocation takes care of that at the first word go, it is peculiarities, somebody might migrate, etc. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible.
Now, parents have up to Friday to file those transfer requests. Thereafter, the window for such action will be closed. I'm Shane Seeley for CBC News.
Meantime, the principal of the Christchurch Girls, Heather Bryan, is reporting success for their students who sat the Common Interest exam, especially those in the remedial class. Her comments came as the school launched a week of activities promoting healthy lifestyles.
When I looked at the results, I was so overwhelmed. When you can get a child from in those classes, somebody getting 81 in math and 78 in English, and you get quite a few of them in the 70s. You get one child going to Lodge, another one going to Dighton because the mother preferred Dighton over Lodge. And this is from our remedial group. So when I look at that, I see success there.
Well, there are strong indications that Barbadians could soon be paying more for pork, poultry and other meats. That's because one of the island's leading feed suppliers, Pinnacle Feeds, has raised the price of its poultry and livestock feeds from today. Pinnacle Feeds says the continued rise in commodity prices and especially hikes in corn have substantially increased its operating expenses. The feed producer also says it's been significantly impacted by hikes in its electricity costs from the Barbados Light and Power Company. Pinnacle Feeds says it's also seen increases in other fuels for production and notes that it cannot continue to absorb these expenses. Pinnacle says it will also reintroduce an all-purpose feed to facilitate Barbadians who require a low-cost general-purpose option. Political analyst Peter Wickham says the healing rift in the Barbados Labour Party can be a game-changer in Barbadian politics. Speaking on Morning Barbados today, Mr. Wickham says the recent photo of leader Owen Arthur and former leader Mia Motley about to embrace can be a worrying sign for the Democratic Labour Party. Mr. Wickham says it could spell trouble, as history shows governments do not do as well in recessions.
It's well known that the DLP government is being handicapped by several factors, not least of which is the economy that seems to be moving a lot more slowly than many of us would like. These may very well be external factors, but you know, in politics, people tend to punish governing parties for the economic situation regardless of whether or not they're responsible for it.
Mr. Wickham says peace between the two senior BLP members can help the party's image.
Once the Barbados Labour Party appears to be united, I think that is the lack of unity is a major stroke against the Barbados Labour Party at this point in time. And I mean, that really is what he's looking at. It's all about window dressing, it's all about appearances, it's all about political unity and mending offences.
Well, there is a call for district emergency organizations to get their houses in order to face the challenges of the 2011 Atlantic hurricane season. That advice has come from the Director of the Department of Emergency Management, Judy Thomas. She says DEOs are a vital link in responding to any emergency or weather system that challenge the country. But she says even though many of the DEOs are set up, she's not sure that they're functioning.
The problem is that I don't think they have enough numbers on the ground to carry out the task. We have suggested to the DEOs that they must have teams in communities, teams in every community that will link back into the coordinating cell of the DEO. And every DEO is to establish a satellite EOC or a satellite coordinating mechanism, and they will operate in that mechanism with fielders out to the communities in the area that they cover.
Ms. Thomas says several issues are considered by the Department of Emergency Management during any hurricane season.
The question of our emergency telecommunications, emergency shelter, mass feeding arrangements, the all clear, the question of damage and needs assessment after the fact that we have got to start rehabilitation almost immediately, and then make arrangements for long-term or medium-term reconstruction.
We'll take a break here, but coming up after that break, a story on an HIV/AIDS awareness campaign with a youth focus. As concern mounts about the impact of HIV on the young, government has come up with yet another HIV/AIDS awareness campaign targeting the youth. The Ministry of Youth and Culture has put together a comic book called Chain Links, which youth leaders will be distributing to others in their respective communities. The project was launched in St. James South over the weekend at the Desmond Haynes Sports Complex, and there Youth Minister Stephen Lashley stressed the need for continuous dialogue on HIV/AIDS.
Some of us here present may be tempted to reach the conclusion that enough has been said surrounding HIV/AIDS in Barbados, including modes of transmission and how to protect each other. But the reality of the situation is that there is still a high degree of at-risk behaviors taking place within our society, especially among some key age groups, which would eventually put immense pressure on our productive sector.
Minister Lashley says the program will be rolled out in 3 phases.
Phase 1 is the sensitization phase, which takes the form of several discussions and focus groups at the community level, focusing particularly on HIV and AIDS awareness. This book will be used as an educational tool to explore critical life skills. Hence, the second phase would take the form of various discussions surrounding key areas in the storyline. This will allow the young persons who are targeted to explore and examine decision-making skills and the consequences to certain behaviors. The third phase will be the identification and training of a selected group of young persons to be trained as peer educators through the use of other creative mediums.
Anglican Bishop, the Most Reverend Dr. John Holder, says the church must help parents guide their children on the right path. Speaking at the 40th anniversary service for St. Christopher Church, Bishop Holder said it is necessary to point children in the way of God, as they are the future of the church. He says the responsibility lies with individuals to discover what is going wrong with the children in an effort to assist where possible.
We cannot just throw our hands up in the air and claim that there's nothing we can do, that the church can do to assist in the molding of our young people. There's a lot that we can still do. We cannot, at this critical stage, remain detached and unconcerned as there is a cry for help to assist with the moral molding process in our schools and in our homes.
Bishop Holder said St. Christopher is a positive link to its community and encouraged them to strengthen that bond each day.
We forget that the mandate of the church, the mandate of every Christian, our very purpose is captured in the words of our text. Go, go and make disciples.
President of the Barbados National Trust, Dr. Carl Watson, says the lack of understanding about the importance of preserving heritage sites is disappointing. He was speaking as a guest on The People's Business, which discussed the theme Heritage and Us. Dr. Watson says conservation should be taken more seriously, particularly as it could result in significant economic benefits.
One of the things that we find most aggravating and one of the things that we fight against all the time is the seeming inability of many Barbadians to understand the significance of conservation and preservation, ongoing maintenance, and the value of objects, items, tangible and intangible, that represent our past and our heritage.
Dr. Watson also said educating the public about Barbadian heritage seems to make little difference.
We talk and we bring to people's attention and the powers that be threats of demolition. We document where buildings are illegally destroyed, buildings that are listed are part of the national heritage, and it's almost like a never-ending war.
Well, if you're planning to attend this year's St. Peter Festival, expect it to be bigger and better than ever. That is what the organizers promised as they announced plans for the 10th annual festival. It starts on June the 18th, ends on June the 25th with a big fireworks display. Coordinator Doug Hoyt says events like the St. Peter Festival are a bridge between communities and wider Barbados.
Cropover is obviously the premier festival in Barbados, but festivals such as the St. Peter Festival, Old Town Festival, the Oysters Festival, those should be used as the breeding ground, the stimulus for cultural entrepreneurship to help make festivals like Cropover more successful and more rewarding for participants. We see that this kind of festival, St. Peter Festival, as the genesis of something bigger and better for culture in Barbados.
Well, this year's festival offers a variety of events, and Alex Tasker of the main sponsor Digicel says the company is happy to once again give its support.
We believe that it is our culture which helps to promote Barbados as a destination for many tourists and which provides employment for many of our people. And no doubt the St. Peter Festival will attract many local and tourists alike who can enjoy a wide range of events such as the Digicel Promenade Party on June 24th, the karaoke competition which ends on June 24th, the Thanksgiving service at St. Peter's Parish Church on June 19th, the Ammon Resort Poetry Competition starting June 19th, the Frying Fish Competition, the Seniors Days, and much more.
Well, still to come, a look at stories making headlines across our region. Right now, the Courts Quiz. Where in Barbados would you find the only octagonal-shaped chimney of a sugar factory? In our Courts Quiz tonight, where in Barbados would you find the only octagonal-shaped chimney of a sugar factory? At Fairfield, St. Lucie. One man is suspected to have drowned as Jamaica continues to be pummeled by a low-pressure system, causing heavy rains on the island. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management says reports are that 2 men were trapped in floodwaters on Bob Marley Beach in Bull Bay in a fishing boat. 1 man was rescued and taken to hospital. The other is feared dead. The Emergency Management Office has activated its national emergency operations as floodwaters continue to rise in several communities. There are also reports that some residents have been marooned in sections of the eastern parish of St. Thomas. Well, hundreds of constituents and supporters turned out for a motorcade and rally in support of Trinidad and Tobago's Works and Transport Minister Jack Warner. During his address to supporters, Warner opted not to talk about the current FIFA scandal.
I had planned to speak to you today a bit more on this matter, but the best legal advice I have received, both at home and abroad, has suggested that I do not do so at this point in time. And that advice I am going to respect.
In spite of his silence on the FIFA scandal, the MP held little back as he waded into his critics who have been calling for him to step down as Works and Transport Minister.
There are some purists by day who talking about Jack Warner should step down. Purists by day, I will tell you what by night. And I have no cause to dignify the nonsense they're saying.
Well, Guyanese should expect to pay 3 times as much for their vegetables in coming weeks. The chairman of the Regional Agricultural Cooperative says the prices of vegetables will increase considerably due to damage caused by heavy rain in the long rainy season. The price hikes are expected on leafy vegetables that are susceptible to water damage, tomatoes and cabbages. Ahead is the Lime Sports World. Before that, however, our tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
The guiding principles underlying the plan for the Decade of Action for Road Safety are those included in the Safe System approach. This tip in association with the Decade of Action for Road Safety.
Welcome to Lime Sports World.
Very good evening to you. I'm Mark Sue with your Lime Sports World. It's a familiar position for West Indies cricket. They are trailing in a cricket series. That's the case in the Digicel Pearls One-Day International Series as the Windies lost the first game today against India at the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad. After winning the toss and electing to bat, West Indies fell short of what they would have hoped to reach, being reduced to 214 for 9 in their 50 overs. Ramirez Sarwan top scored with 56, while Marlon Samuels got 55. Harbhajan Singh took 3 for 32. India responded with 217 for 6 to win by 4 wickets with 5.1 overs remaining. Man of the match Rohit Sharma was unbeaten on 68, while Shikhar Dhawan made 52. Leg spinner Anthony Martin took 2 for 39, while pacer Ravi Rampal had 2 for 58.
That's a wonderful straight hit by Simmons, just using his feet down the wicket, going after Patel and hit straight back over the bowler's head.
Sort of stratified, I guess.
Easy catch. Right into the lap of Harbhajan.
Beautiful shot that from the young man. No question about it. It's there and taken this time around. That's a loose shot. And then trying to play. Oh, that is a lovely shot. What a way to get off the mark.
He's gone now. His struggles have ended. Wind up and go, Marlon Samuels, and go for 6. Skillfully played by Sawan. Runs all the way for 4 and brings up 50 for Ramirez Sawan as well.
Gone. Creased. There's Samuels over the top. There is a fielder out there, but it's gone all the way. Another 6 and a 50 for Marlon Samuels to come. And he's bowled him. Gone.
Spell. Big appeal, and he's given him.
He's clobbered it away, and that's a 4 for him.
Is he out? Yes, he's out. Caught behind.
He's hit that well. He's picked it up and deposited it over the fence.
That's
spanked
short.
Away. That's going to be a half century for Dhawan. Hoiked away down towards mid-wicket. A catch taken.
Using his feet, and it's gone over.
Settled in now and hoiks this away for 4. Just over the head of the backward point.
As Habidjan has had enough, and that's 6. It's all over. And Pakistan have won the first Digicel Pearl ODI of the 5-match series.
And game 2 in that 5-match series is on Wednesday, same venue, Trinidad and Tobago. On the motorsports, and the curtain came down on this year's Sol Rally Barbados after the completion of last night's Shell Aviation Super Special stage at Bushy Park. Despite the overall rally going again to defending champs Roger Skeet and Louis Venezia after the weekend's competition, under the lights though, the pair of Roger Duckworth and Ali Davies completed the super special stage with the fastest time. CBC's Sean Green reports.
Lights, camera, action. Roger the Sure Skeet and Louis Valencia in the white Subaru Impreza, and Paul Bird and Christy Riddick in the green Ford Focus. Bird drifted his way under the bridge and was really and literally kicking up the dust in the curves. Meanwhile, Skeet and Venezia were not to be outdone either, as the pair went airborne over the bridge, and that really brought the crowd alive. But this is not just about competition, but entertainment as well, as the bird was flying over the bridge as well. I guess his name isn't Bird for nothing. He sneaked his way through a few more bends before meeting Skeet and Venezia along the home stretch. But the pair in the Impreza had the momentum, finishing in 1 minute 15.24 seconds. The second fastest lap featured Paul the Surfer Bourne and Ronald Plant in the red and white Ford Focus, and the car number 4, the team of Rob Swan and Darren Gerard of Great Britain. And while they got off to an early start, the eyes were on Bourne as he powered his way through the curves and under the makeshift bridge. But I think it was his going over the bridge that left the crowd in stitches, kicking off a bit of the turf on his re-entry. He finished in 1 minute 17.08 seconds, an entire second and a half ahead of the Brits. But the quickest time came from Roger Duckworth and Alan Davies, also from Britain, driving the number 12, the Subaru Impreza. They were paired with Ian Weeby Warren and brother Robert. And after swiftly navigating through the curves, it was smooth sailing to the finish in a time of 1 minute 14.95 seconds. Sean Green, CBC Sports.
We'll take a break from the sports here, and when we come back, it'll be football.
Everybody wants something different from their mobile. Some people want to stay in touch. Others just want to stay on top of it all. Some people want to choose the right plan for their lifestyle. Others just want it all in a bundle. Some love getting more for their money by carrying over unused minutes. Others just want more convenient ways to top up. But hey, whatever you want from your mobile, chances are you will find it with Line. Line, for living every day.
Clayton's Colatonic Notre Dame are just 2 wins away from retaining their BFA knockout title after rolling into the semi-finals from crushing L&R United 5-1 last night in the quarterfinals at the National Stadium. CBC's Melissa Farley reports.
Semi-final spots were up for grabs, and the defending champions in blue made sure that they claimed one. But the journey for Notre Dame started on a rocky path, and Carlo Perry was an obstacle. L&R United were up 1-0 in the 28th minute. But in the defense of their title, the equalizer for Dames came 5 minutes before half-time. Set up by captain John Paris, the Carlo Gemmett was the one to finish it. This is now 5 minutes into the second half, and the funniest goal on the night, a poorly constructed move by United skipper, was a result of Maradona Levine heading Dames to a 2-1 lead. And Daquan Adamson would make it 4-1 in the 78th minute after Gemmett had knocked in his second and the third for the Dames in the 66th. And the two will combine to wrap up the game 5-1 when Adamson showcased his skill before he was brought down in the penalty box. And it was Gemmett who took the shot. 3 goals to him. Meantime, Paradise beat BDF team 2-1 to secure a semi-final spot. Barry Skeet and Marcus Marshall gave Paradise the 2 goals, while Mario Hart scored for the BDF. Wales are also through thanks to a goal apiece from Dwayne Stanford and Dwayne McLean that saw them beat Bagatelle 2-0. And Cosmos round off the final 4 following a 2-1 win over Crompton on Saturday. Melissa Farley, CBC Sports.
On to netball. Basketball will enter tomorrow's second round of the Pine Hill Dairy Primary Schools competition at the netball stadium after topping the Northern Zone. However, in other results from that zone, Roland Edwards had a flawless day in Speightstown today. After brushing aside Ignatius Bayer 7-2, they returned to defeat St. Lucie Primary. CBC's Sean Green was there.
Roland Edwards was having a great day at the office and entered this game full of confidence. Shanita Broom was the goal attack for the entire season. Here she takes her time, balances and scores. Here she is again collecting a pass from Shante Jordan before sinking yet another one. Broom was also good on passing, looping the ball over the goalkeeper to Jordan, who scored her school's 3rd goal. St. Lucie had a few chances at goal, and when they got them, or should I say it, the goal attack was hesitant but made it count. In the second half, Roland Edwards was on the charge again. St. Lucie just couldn't keep Shante Broom out of the game, and she went on to lead her team to a 6-1 win. Sean Green, CBC Sports.
Back to cricket, Lamins are the champions of the 2011 Dale Marshall 2020 cricket competition. In front of a full house at St. Elizabeth Primary School ground, Horace Hill went down by 3 wickets after winning the toss and batting. Now, after their 20 overs, Horace Hill got up to 140 for 8. Jamal Smith top scored at 34, while Andre Evelyn took 3 for 21. In reply, though, Martin Nurse smashed 73 not out, which earned him the Man of the Match award, as Lamins reached 143 for 7 in the final over. CBC's Shane Jones reports.
Martin Nurse opened for Lamins and he got right down to business with a big 6 over long off. He lost his partner though. Gregory Downs gone LBW to Elvis Thompson for 14. Nurse not happy to see Downs go. Well, that wicket brought another. Lance Gay bowled all over the shot by Thompson for a duck. Meanwhile, Nurse was still on the go. Here he is, and that's a biggie, this time over long on. Yes, it was the Martin Nurse show. Next ball dispatched behind square for 4. 2 quick wickets fell after Raymond Kelman for 6 and Sherwin Franklin without scoring. And Lamings would lose another. Ronaldo Kelman well caught off Noel Burnham for 1. Pretty good crowd in on the night too. Nurse then survived a very close call, loud appeal, but the umpire said no. I don't know about that one. The wickets continue to fall around him. Tariq Hoyt going for the big heave-ho was out, cut off Burnham for 4. Nurse was the rock of the innings, launching this one way out of the ground for a massive 6. If you thought that was big, check this out. That's what I call disrespect. And the winning run came with just 4 balls to spare wide down the leg side, and Lamings celebrate.
Thank you very much, Shane, and that's it for the sports news. We'll have Pearson and the business report up next.
This has been Lime Sports World.
Next, the CBC Evening News Business Report brought to you by Butterfield, personal, professional people.
A U.S. $10,000 grand prize is being offered to any student of the UWI Cayfield campus who can create a viable business plan for a locally based pharmaceutical company. Valiant International SRL is seeking submissions of business plans from UE students for the startup and management of a company to distribute their over-the-counter dermatology products. The intention is to have those products sold in Barbados and the Caribbean. Speaking at the launch of the competition, Director of the UE Cayfield School of Business, Dr. Janine Comer, said to keep the region competitive, the talent of its people must be harnessed.
We must work with them to release the potential of those dreams and to forge them into a reality that is sustainable and capable for helping our region and our people grow. In these challenging times, we must work with our people across the Caribbean to enhance that inborn spirit of creativity and to add to it a mindset that is entrepreneurial in its outlook.
Well, Valiant International SRL is a subsidiary of Valiant Pharmaceuticals International Incorporated, a multinational company. President and Chief Operating Officer Richard Masterson said they had good reasons for investing in a business plan competition.
As a global pharmaceutical company, Valiant's employees worldwide are required to have significant levels of education. The vast majority are college graduates, and a significant number have master's and doctoral degrees in science, finance, law, business, medicine, and other disciplines. So as a result of that, we tend to make an effort in every geography in which we have a presence to support the educational programs in that market. And it's both a way for us to give back to the community, and frankly, it contributes to the strength of our future employee base.
Well, 10 British companies and several from the Caribbean will be among the more than 175 exhibitors showcasing products at this year's BMEX. Peter Thorne has the story.
From all reports, the current economic recession hasn't affected exhibitors coming forward to take part in this year's BMEX exhibition, which gets underway Friday at the Lloyd Erskine Sandifer Center and runs until Monday, June 13th. Special Projects Coordinator with the BMA, Shelley-Ann Austin, says all of the booth spaces for the 177 exhibitors are filled, just as they were in 2010. Ms. Austin says there are several large companies returning to the fold, as well as small and medium-sized enterprises. Those companies taking part in BMEX include entities in food and beverage, services, construction, fashion, furniture, art, herbal and spa, among others. Ms. Austin says 10 companies from Britain with 17 representatives will be showcasing their products and offering a range of consultancies before they head off to JMEX, the Jamaica equivalent of BMEX. Companies from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada have also signed up for the expo. This year's BMEX exhibition is being officially opened by Minister with Responsibility for Investment, Senator Darcy Boyce. Peter Thorne, CBC News.
Peter, thank you. Now here is a summary of today's trading on some of the region's stock exchanges.
For all your financial needs, we got a Butterfield. For all that you can achieve, we got a Butterfield. Professional, personal service, Butterfield. We'd like to reach out to you to help with what you want to do. For all your needs and aspirations will far exceed your expectations. We'd like to reach out to you to help with what you want to do. For all your needs and aspirations will far exceed your expectations. Professional personal service,
Butterfield 95 is back with the lowest fixed-rate mortgage in Barbados. 5.45% with 1% cashback up to $6,000. With these and other benefits, there's never been a better time to buy your home. Call Butterfield at 431-4500.
The International Air Transport Association, IATA, is looking for biofuels to be more available to planes. IATA approved the use of biofuels on airplanes in 2010. However, to get it is the problem. We have a report.
IATA says that by the end of this year,
Airlines will be able to use 50% biofuel gasoline mixture, but the problem is supply. Giovanni Bisengani says that he's angry that big oil is not helping.
We need the oil companies to understand that this is important for our future. I understand that they're very pleased in cashing $176 billion of jet fuel this year, but I think to a certain kind of responsibility would suggest to get a bit more involved in this biofuel new process.
So plenty of issues for airline executives here to be wrestling with, but there is one bright spot, and that's the almost uninterrupted growth of key emerging markets, particularly China and India.
Well, that's Business Today. David Best has weather details after the break.
The Business Report was brought to you by Butterfield, personal, professional people.
A very good evening to all, and a dense canopy of high-level clouds swept in from the northwest sometime during the day, and it virtually shut out the sun. To the untrained eye, we got the impression that we would get some shower activity out of it, but it didn't materialize, and I'll tell you why. Now, take a look, though, at the high temperature reached at the airport. We got up to 30.5 degrees Celsius, almost down a degree over what we were getting over the past couple of days. The minimum temperature, 25.6 at 6 o'clock. Still that dense canopy of high-level cloud. The temperature, 28.5 degrees Celsius. The humidity, 82%. And the winds out of the east at 16 kilometers per hour. No rainfall recorded here in Barbados, even though we had all that cloud knocking around. Take a look, though. First of all, there are two tropical waves of note. There's one around 48, 49 degrees west. Most of the action is associated with this system is embedded in the region of the intertropical convergence zone. The other tropical wave, that is of most interest to us, that is around 58, 59 degrees west. The activity is to the south of 12 degrees north, and that is due to sweep across the southern portion of the region later tonight. Let's put the cloud in motion. As I indicated, the tropical wave to the south of us, around 58, 59, should be about passing to the south. Already should be generating cloudy skies and scattered showers over Trinidad, Tobago, and the Guyanas, of course, in association with the intertropical convergence zone. Our expectations are that some of that moisture is going to be deflected northward in the region of Barbados and the southern portion of the island chain, and we are expecting cloudy skies tonight, scattered showers, and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. But in the western portion of the region, there's this broad area of low pressure. This has been generating a tremendous amount of rainfall over Jamaica, sections of Cuba, Haiti in the Dominican Republic, and Hispaniola. The system could very well be upgraded to tropical depression status within the next 24 hours, but the major headache is going to be a whole lot of rainfall associated with the system already. Flash flooding has been in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, as far to the east as Puerto Rico, they had flash flooding. So this system is creating a whole set of instability. But for us, as I indicated, let's take a look now at our precipitation chart. The tropical wave is going to be sweeping into the area tonight. That is going to be generating most of its action down to the south, but some of that moisture could be deflected in our area. But tomorrow there's going to be a gradual return to fair conditions. But loads of instability over the north could continue to generate showers and maybe some isolated thunderstorms, even some flash flooding. Let's take a look at our 4-day prediction now. We're going to be looking at Tuesday through to Friday. Partly cloudy skies, some scattered shower activity, but it's going to be, as I indicated, it's going to be a gradual return to fair to partly cloudy skies and not a whole lot of shower activity through until Friday. Sunrise in Barbados tomorrow, 29 minutes to 6 o'clock. Sunset will be at 23 minutes after 6. The tides about 7:15 tomorrow morning, the first high tide. The second is going to be at 20 minutes after 8 in the PM. The first low tide early tomorrow morning, 2 minutes after 1. The second is going to be at 1:44 in the afternoon. Seas slight to moderate in open water, peaking at 2 meters, but a little more active along the southern coast, so just be careful. The winds east-southeasterly to easterly, 15 to 35 kilometers per hour. The forecast for Barbados tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy and hazy with some scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with some scattered showers at first, becoming mainly fair as the day progresses.
Now here's a recap of the top stories interpreted for the hearing impaired and brought to you with the compliments of Carlton and Emerald City supermarkets, where the weekly specials are at better prices.
The Ministry of Education is being flooded with requests for transfers from parents dissatisfied with the placement of their children following this year's Common Interest exam. Confirmation of this from Education Minister Ronald Jones. He says some parents have gone as far as getting his personal number and calling him with their requests. As concern mounts about the impact of HIV on the young, government has come up with yet another HIV/AIDS awareness campaign targeting the youth. The Ministry of Youth and Culture has put together a comic book called Chain Links, which youth leaders will be distributing to others in their respective communities. A familiar position, the West Indies trailing in a cricket series. That's the case in the Digicel Pearls One-Day International Series, as the Windies lost the first game today against India at the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad. After winning the toss and electing to bat, the West Indies fell way short of what they would have hoped to reach, being reduced to 214 for 9 in their 50 overs. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy and hazy with some scattered showers, possible isolated thunderstorms. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with some scattered showers at first, becoming mainly fair.
That recap of the top stories interpreted for the hearing impaired was brought to you with the compliments of Carlton and Emerald City supermarkets, where the weekly specials are at better prices.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.
Cropover 2011. It's our heritage. It's our culture. It's explosive color and pulsating rhythms. CBC TV8, right there with you this Cropover.